is letter of complaint. According to our scheme of work, letter of complaint. Everybody say that. Letter of complaint. Good. Now listen up, please. As we are explaining, we'll be looking at a sample or a model in our intensive English. Please, let's turn over to page 50 of our textbook. Page 50. I hope every table has a textbook. Turn over to page 50 of your textbook. Share with me. Page 50 of your textbook. Now on that page we have a writing on letter of complaint. Please listen up, please. Now generally a letter of complaint is a category of a formal letter. I hope you know what a formal letter is, right? A letter that is written to an official what? Position. Go back. You come back later. A letter that is written to an official what? Position. Or written to someone who occupies a high authority. Listen up, please. Written to someone who occupies a high what? Authority. And the purpose of every formal letter is to what? To make a request or to tender what? A particular complaint, depending on the category which we are writing about. Now in this letter of complaint, we are going to look at the features of a letter of complaint. Please listen, just concentrate. We are going to look at the features of a letter of complaint and how we can be able to identify a letter of complaint. Whenever you see one, that is the attributes or the informations that are combined in its content. Don't forget, a letter of complaint is what? A formal letter. And we know the general features of a formal letter, right? And what are the features? We have the writer's address and date. The second one is what? The receiver's word, address, followed by the salutation, then followed by the title or heading, then the content or body of letter, and finally your closure or your complementary word, close. So these are the features of a formal letter. And it shares the general features with the letter of complaint and other categories of what? A formal letter. Now let's look into our textbook. We are reading together from that page 50. The teacher leads the students. Look into your textbooks, everybody. The teacher leads the students to learn how to write a formal letter of complaint. Now let's read a formal letter. 1 to go.
A formal letter of complaint is written to the same person as in the letter of apology discussed in the previous unit. Unlike the letter of apology, the letter of complaint is written for the following reasons.
1. Continue. Class, dormitory, or
its environment. 2. To spotlight injustice, irregularities, and wrongdoing.
3.
To seek correction or compensation for injustice suffered.
Hold on a little bit. Let's go back to that introduction. Unlike the letter of apology, the letter of complaint is written for the following reasons. What character was placed there? What punctuation mark was placed there? Look at that punctuation. Colon. We've treated it, right? Yes. Remember we said that one of the functions of a colon is to what? Introduce what? A list. Can you remember?
Yes.
Good. So we have seen the list and they are 3 in number. To highlight problems of the school, class, dormitory, or its environment. These are the reasons why we write a letter of complaint. When you talk about a letter of complaint, it simply means you want to complain about a problem that affects you or people around you. Am I communicating at all?
Yes.
Take note of that. It's talking about complaint, something that is disturbing you, affecting you in that particular environment. You're tendering that complaint or that situation to a high authority. Take note of that. Now look at the next aspect. Like other formal letters, let's go. 1 to go.
Like other formal letters, the formal letter of complaint contains all the features of the formal letter. In addition, the formal letter of complaint focuses on the following, which are, let's go.
1. Complaining about, continue.
The issue being reported.
The body states any of the following. Now listen, this particular aspect now is talking about the body of the letter. And the body of the letter is subdivided. We have the introduction, right? Read out what should be in the introductory paragraph. Read it out again so it will enter your head. Read it out. 1 to go. The introduction states what the writer is complaining about. That is the Yes, let's talk about examples of issues that we can report to a higher authority in school. Talking about the high rate of noise making in the class. Yes, what other aspect of it? What? Yes, high rate of lateness by students. Which other issue can you complain about? Fighting. Which other issue again? Stealing. So these are issues that are bothering you. It could be a challenge affecting you or people around. So when you tender it to a high authority in a given environment, then it becomes what? A letter of what? It becomes a letter of what now? Complaint. So that is the introduction. The introductory paragraph, take note, it must comprise of what? Information of what you are complaining about. Now what is the next one now? The next one now is other paragraphs, subsequent paragraphs. What should be there? Now read out. Let's go. The body states any of the following, which are
Explanation of the circumstances surrounding the issue being complained about.
next,
Explanation of some inconveniences, setbacks, mishaps,
obstacles or problem by the issue. Next, reason.
for making the complaint. Expression of how one feels about the issue.
Conclusion. Now the concluding paragraph. Let's see what could be there. Let's read out. Response to the complaint, and finally recommendation, right, on how to solve the problem complained about. So if you're complaining about a problem, you must suggest how that problem can be what? How that problem can be what? For instance, you complain to the director in a formal letter, a letter of report, a letter of complaint, about the high rate of stealing in your class. Now, if you're tendering this complaint to that authority, you must suggest to that particular authority how that problem can be what? They are not responding. How that problem can be what? Solved. So at the concluding paragraph, make sure you suggest some ways of curbing or solving that particular what? Problem. Now, we are going to look at a sample now, a sample of a formal letter or letter of complaint specifically on page 51. On page 51 of our textbook of an intensive English. Now let's read. We are starting from the address now. 1 to go. Please, let's read with interest. 1 to go.
Green of the Holy Rosary Secondary School. P.O. Box 48. Nsukka, Enugu State. 22nd August 2011.
The dormitory metron. At the left hand side we have the receiver's address, and who is the writer writing to? The dormitory what? Metron. Greenhouse Dormitory, Queen of the Holy Rosary Secondary School, Nsukka. Dear Madam, that is our salutation, right?
Yes.
Now what is the title? What is the heading? Constant power outage in Greenhouse Dormitory. Now let's read the body now, the body of the letter. 1 to go.
I am writing this letter on behalf of the inmates of Greenhouse
To complain about
the regular power failure in Greenhouse.
Hold on. Observe that introduction. The writer states what he or she is complaining about. So in a letter of complaint, in your introduction, always state that thing that prompts you to write out that complaint. Am I communicating at all?
Yes.
So in this one now, in this content now, what is the writer complaining about? The regular power what? Failure in Greenhouse. You must state it in your introduction. Then in the rest of the paragraphs, you give details. How power failure in Greenhouse has affected you, or depending on the topic you're writing about. Now let's continue. For the past 1 week, 1 to go.
Greenhouse has been in total darkness. Why other dormitories have power supply?
Power supply, not power, please. Take note of that. Correct yourself. Say that. Power supply. Continue. The next paragraph.
These problems started last Saturday when the light in our dormitory suddenly went off. We thought that it was a general problem, only to discover the next day that it was peculiar to Greenhouse alone. This situation has made it difficult for the housemates to do so many things that require the use of electricity, such as boiling water for morning bath, ironing our clothes,
lanterns, please, let's go back, recap please. Let's go back to the previous sentence. Other inconveniences, want to go.
Other inconveniences we are suffering from as a result of the power failure
Include total darkness at night,
as we cannot allow the use
of lanterns, and stifling atmosphere no longer work. Now the concluding paragraph, now let's look at the elements that are there. Want to go? Hold on, there is a comma there. I, therefore, let's say that again. Want to go? I, therefore, humbly pray that you finally get the administration to repair the fault, restore electricity to the journey. Hold on, what did the writer just do now? What did the writer just do? He suggested or gave a recommendation how to solve the power of what? How to solve the problem of what? Power failure. Am I communicating at all? Yes. Now the final sentence, read out. Want to go? I look forward for a favorable response to our problem. There must always be a feedback. Listen. There must always be a feedback in every letter you're writing. Because for a communication to be effective, there must be what? Feedback. If there is no feedback, are you understanding what I'm saying at all? If there is no feedback, a communication is not effective. So if you're writing to any receiver, make sure you create a platform at the concluding aspect or concluding paragraph whereby you're expecting what? A response. Am I communicating at all? It must be there. Anticipate for a response. Then we have our closure or complementary close, the use of yours faithfully, the space for the signature. Look into your textbooks, please. We have the yours faithfully, then we have the comma after that, the space for the signature, the full name, beginning with your surname and then your first name, and then the position of the writer, which is what? The greenhouse word prefect. Am I communicating at all? Now with the idea of this now, I'll be giving you a take-home assignment. Now, write down the assignment, please. Since we have already gotten the sample, you use this sample as a guide. The sample on page 51 as a guide to draft out a letter of complaint for me. Now take down, assuming you are the labor prefect. Assuming you're the labor prefect of your school. Assuming you are the labor prefect of your school. Assume